Okay, happy fall everybody, because, this shirt, I don't think I've worn this before. I know you guys can't see this and don't know this, but my desk where I'm at is always so cluttered. Like, why do I have so many moisturizers sitting here? But what is going on? Like, another moisturizer. I have whiskey for some odd reason. I mean, but in a comb? What is this? Glasses, freaking, just all this junk. Old coffee cup. There's a stink bug in my coffee cup. I will kill every single last one of you. I'll do it. So newsflash, there is no stink bug in here. But if you believe that there was a stink bug in here, then that means I still got some acting chops in LA. Here I come. But if you didn't actually believe that there was a stink bug in there, then I guess, well, I suck. But what I gave you from this right here, this analogy, was I evoked some sort of emotion. Something happened and that made you hopefully believe that there was an actual stink bug in here. But was there ever a stink bug in here? No. But you believed it, and that I think is the equivalent of, kind of the equivalent. This means something, okay? Work with me here. Basically, I gave you some sort of emotion to make you believe that what I was experiencing was actually reality, when in fact it wasn't. This is also called in the medical field the placebo effect. So what is the difference between the placebo effect and actual belief in God? Because what I just did with you, I think, is exactly what religion does with spirituality, creating these simulated experiences that they may or may not actually believe themselves, but the other person sees it, and it's like this confirmation oh my god, here we go. Confirmation bias that says, well, you just confirmed that what I believe is true, so I believe it. Is that actual belief though? Like, what is the difference between the placebo effect and actual belief in God? So I did some research on the placebo effect, because normally people hear the placebo effect and they just think, oh, it's them believing in something that's real, but it's actually not real. And so there's a little bit more to it. The placebo effect, placebo is actually Latin for I shall please. Looking down at my notes right there, because yeah. In the placebo effect, for those of you who don't know, it's not a psychological term. Well, it didn't start off that way, except it is a psychological term. But it started off in medicine that I'm not sure of the entire history of it per se, but it started off when they didn't have medication available. This might have been during World War II. And so instead of actually giving them the medication they needed, they just gave them a random, just not even a drug. Sometimes it's even water or something, and they told them that it was the drug, and they actually started to feel better. And so then they started to study this, and this is still a mystery today. In fact, is that FDA, for medication to be approved to go out in public, it has to pass the placebo effect experimentation, basically seeing, is this medication more powerful than the placebo effect, than us giving patients fake medication and them getting better. If this medication that you're proposing to us is better than that, then we will release it out into the public. And newsflash, there's drugs that don't even get released because the placebo effect, God, got that out there, because oh my God. Because the placebo effect is greater than the actual medication being used. Which, what does that mean? That means that the main ingredient in a placebo effect drug is expectation. Now, I know if you guys don't already see it now, how this relates to religion and spirituality. But I'm going to keep going and reveal to you a couple other little secret good stuff that'll make you think a lot about life. And, this whole thing of religion and stuff. So the question is the placebo effect real or is it not real? Well, it is real, because there's a student that it was years ago that went to Stanford University, and he hurt his arm in some way. I forget the story in detail now, but he hurt his arm in some way. And so they took some scans of his brain testing out these medications that they were giving him. And so they basically touched his arm in the places where it was excruciatingly painful. And when they did that, his brain, all these places lit up, the places in the brain where it's like, yes, I'm hurting, this is painful. And so then they said, okay, we're going to give you a drug, and this is a drug that will reduce the pain. So they give him the drug, and they touch him on the arm in the same spot, and the brain scan showed like significantly the pain went down, and he even said, yes, the pain has decreased. But they didn't give him anything for the pain. And then once they did give him the actual pain reliever, then it went down even further. So, but the fact still remains that this is real, that your beliefs will come into reality, whether they're real or not. Whether, like, obviously that drug wasn't even real that the kid took for his pain, but it was real because of how his belief in that drug, even though it wasn't real, affected him. So is it real or is it not real? Well, it's not real, but it proves that our beliefs become real in our heads, and so that's why they are real, and so that's why the FDA now can't approve drugs before they go through this experimentation with the placebo effect. Now, the crazier thing is that there are experimentations that are done where people will give, or doctors will give patients medicine that they say, this is placebo medication. This is not real. And they give it to him, and the patient still says, this makes me feel better. I feel better. What is that? I mean, this is still a mystery in the medical field, but it can't be ignored because of how real the effects of it are. So like I mentioned earlier, but I'll just mention it again, that a theory for why the placebo effect works, there's a number of theories, but one that I found specifically interesting was called confirmation bias, which is basically saying that once you take the placebo drug, you will be looking for the things that you couldn't do before that says, this drug is working. You'll completely ignore the places that you still feel pain because you took something and now you're like, okay, I am going to find, evidence for myself where, like, evidence that shows that this drug is working, this medication is working, even though it's not even real, which is just, oh boy. So I think you can start to see how this relates to religion and spirituality. So before I get to that, I want to mention one more thing that's kind of terrifying about the placebo effect, but at the same time really awesome and really interesting. It's that the placebo effect, over the course of the last 20 or 30 years, has grown in humanity. And what I mean by grown is that scientists, doctors, whoever does these experiments, they experimented with these drugs in, I forget what it was like the 90s or something like that. Wow, I'm being super general and ambiguous and not scientifically minded at all. But I promise you I did look this stuff up, and I can put a link in the description, whatever. Anyway, when they tested this placebo drug, the effect of the drug that they gave them, the placebo drug, it went up to a point where it was like, okay, like on a graph, it went up like, okay, yeah, the pain has decreased this much. And now in the future, for the same exact drug, the same thing, same exact drug, the placebo effect drug has gone up even more to people who are saying, yeah, like I feel even more of a decrease in pain, even though there's no difference whatsoever. And this is the case with a number of medications. The drug, the placebo effect is growing consistently. So what is the difference between the placebo effect and actual belief in God when it comes to religion and spirituality? For me, I think what the difference is for actual belief in something. Now, I've made plenty of videos on belief, so if you haven't seen those, check it out. But I think the difference between the belief in God and the placebo effect is belief is a first-hand experience, whether that be externally subjective or hopefully an objective external experience, but it is first-hand. the placebo effect is always secondhand. And I think this directly correlates to religion and spirituality, because what religion will do, or what a number of people who claim to believe in God and claim to be Christians, which I've just made up this word, maybe it's already a word, I don't know, but Placeblians, they're not even Christians, they're just Placeblians. But they believe in God based off of something that somebody else has told them, or of, just like I did at the beginning of this video, evoking some sort of subjective emotion that you see and you're like, wow, that must be real. Except it's not real at all. And so if people have seen this enough and they have confirmation bias towards, okay, God is absolutely real, then out of the placebo effect, because they believe it, it will be real to them, but it's not actually real. So if it's real to them, but it's not actually real, what does that mean? It means it's not real. It just means that their beliefs is what make it real to them, but just because it's true to you and just because it's real to you doesn't mean that it's actually real. And so the difference between the placebo effect and belief in God is huge. It is absolutely massive. And like I said, belief is a first-hand, objective experience in something. And the placebo, as far as I'm aware, with talking about in the medicine, scientific field, and psychology and all of that, it's always a second-hand thing. It's always hearing something. It's always getting help. It's always going somewhere else to find something, but it's never actually looking inside of yourself and finding it for yourself. Healing, medically, psychology, whatever. It's never actually doing it for yourself, but it's always looking outward into other people and seeing, okay, now I've taken this pill, whether that be emotionally or physically, a drug or whatever, and now because that seems to work for me because of confirmation bias, I believe it. So, my question to you is, based off of everything that I just said, do you still believe in God, or do you think that you are subject to a possible placebo effect situation? And if you have the guts and humility to actually admit that you're in a placebo effect situation, good on you. But I am also willing to bet that a number of people watching this that claim to believe in God and that are under the placebo effect will not say that they are. Because to them, and this is the scary thing about it, to them it's real. To them it's real because they can actually feel it, and it shows in their physiology, which is the other scary part. And so it's like they are literally believing something that is actually affecting them, but it is not real. So what do you think about all this? Which one are you? Do you actually believe in God, or is it the placebo effect? Or maybe you're none of those, and maybe you just have an opinion on the matter. And if so, let me know what you think down in the comments. But I am about to run out of space on my iPhone, which is why I'm rushing through all of this, which totally sucks. But hopefully you're understanding the information that I'm just throwing your way, and it's making sense to you. But I'm pretty sure I've said all that I have wanted to say. I'm sure I could go on and rant a bit more, but I won't do that. So, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And like I said, leave a comment of your thoughts about all of this and how, if God is real, we can get past the Placeblians, the people that only believe in God out of the placebo effect, and actually get to, if God is real, actual belief in Him. What do you think about all that? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you misfits in the next one. Peace!